Hey everybody, it's Rob Lutz. I'm here with another story behind the songs, and this one is a song from the 1800s, first published in 1859 in a book called The Christian Songster, Joseph Bever. So I've tried to research, can't find much out about him, but he collected a bunch of spirituals and hymns, folk hymns, American folk hymns, and this was one of them. This is actually based on two European songs, so it kind of comes out of that ballad tradition. It's based on a song called the Dowie Dens of Yarrow, uh, which is a song that you can actually go online on YouTube and you can see Joni Mitchell singing it in 1964 in a little club in Toronto. And the other hymn that it's based on is called Ich bin ein Gast auf Erden. Pilgrim Here I Wander, and this is a German folk tune. It's a little more similar to that one lyrically, but it has an American version, and this was sort of something that was happening over that century, a little bit in the 18th century, a little more in the 19th century, where there was a lot of adulation, despite the fact that independence had just been won from Germany or from England. There was a lot of looking towards Europe for musical signposts and musical validity, and so a lot of hymns, and a lot of other types of songs. There was a sort of a European thrust in those songs, and so this is a very American type melody. It's more of a pentatonic, less ornate, less classical sounding. This one has, a little bit fewer notes, a little more intuitive in terms of its singing. And it's a little more emotional, and that's another sort of mark of American folk hymns and folk songs, is that they were less concerned with, melodic leaps and cleverness and such, and they were more into connecting emotionally. And so that's kind of what this song has, or I think it has in spades. Actually, it's one of my favorite songs from the 19th century. It's been done many times by a variety of artists. My favorite version is Emmylou Harris did it in the 70s with an all-star band. I'll put that link in the description. But there's been many others done over the years. And notably, the song I'm talking about is the Wayfaring Stranger. And Burl Ives actually referred to himself, not so much third person to himself, but sort of regarded himself as a wayfaring stranger. He was an itinerant folk musician in the early 20th century. He was from Illinois, but he traveled all around collecting songs, sort of a song collector. Like a traditional role in the music world was to go around the hills and collect all the rural songs. And so he kind of did that, and he had a radio show in the 40s called the Wayfaring Stranger. And you could argue that, among all of the people in the folk revival, he may be more responsible for keeping songs alive, like On Top of Old Smoky, and all the little songs, Three Little Ducks Swimming in the Water, etc., for future generations. There was a legend that this song had been written during the Civil War in a prison called Libby Prison. I believe it's in Virginia. But the first publication of the song was 1859. The Civil War had not begun, so this was clearly not true. And the legend had it that it was a soldier who was dying in prison, and he sort of scratched it into the wall. So I can see the appeal of that myth, but that wasn't exactly true. And that's about all I have to say. It's one of these songs that it's very hymn-like, but it's also considered in the pantheon of great country music in the same way that Home on the Range is considered a sort of early anthemic country song. It wasn't really written in a country tradition. That tradition didn't exist, but elements of this have been adopted into the country tradition. And in this one, it has that combination of this plaintive melody with a somewhat of a story, but really the story is that this person is just wandering in the world, and it's difficult. And if you think about that period of American history, westward expansion, really no medication, of any kind of note, nothing super effective, no antiseptics, there was no roads, there was no hospitals. It was just really a hard world. And I think Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about the life expectancy at that time was around 30. And I think it's went up slowly, and a lot of that is infant mortality. But even those that lived beyond infancy, your time on Earth was a lot shorter. And because of the nature of society at the time, was just more difficult. So this talks about, the struggles of living, but then the comfort of knowing that you're going to the great beyond. And what I find most touching about this one is the great beyond. You're going to meet your parents. You'll meet your deceased father and your deceased mother. And there's something very beautiful about that, reuniting with people you've known on earth. I find that quite touching in the song. So here's a version of The Wayfaring Stranger, and I hope you like it. And if you do, please hit like and subscribe. Thanks. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, while traveling through this world of woe. Yet there's no sickness, toil, or danger in that bright world going there to see my father. I'm going there no more. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going I know dark clouds were gathered around me. I know my way is rough and steep.